After serving wholesome Parsi and continental dishes for decades, Jimmy and Meru Kadkoti break foodies' hearts by announcing the folding up of Paradise Restaurant. The shutters down at Colaba Causeway's Paradise Restaurant pick Suresh Karkara once every year. Calaba's favorite Parsi and continental meals Mecca, Paradise Restaurant would down its shutters. Owners Jimmy and Meru Kadkoti wouldn't trust anyone else with its running when they would make their annual trip to America to be with their children. This time, the shutters have been down for longer. And Midday can confirm that the 61-year-old eatery with a fanatic fan following will not be open for business again. Jimmy and Meru holding the menu at their Tardio home. Pick Ashish Rahe. Some of it has to do with Jimmy's health. In November last year, Meru Kadkoti noticed one morning that her husband was having trouble walking. It was time for her shift at the eatery. She would do mornings, and he would take over post 4 p.m., but didn't want to leave alone, and insisted on joining her at the cafe. The 80-year-old had his chai, but said he felt uneasy. Their family doctor confirmed that Jimmy, who had undergone a bypass surgery a few years ago, had had a paralytic stroke. Although he is now back home after spending a month in hospital, Meru says she finds it tough at 75 to run both home and restaurant. "We want to take a graceful bow," Meru says. The couple is waiting for their children, daughters Hadakshi and Paravash, and son Shahzad to make a visit and decide the fate of the space they own. The simple interiors of the restaurant. The artworks on the wall show Adam chasing Eve after eating the forbidden fruit and vice versa, making a paradise. His introduction to restaurating started when he was barely 14 and helped his uncle run the canteen at Excelsior Cinema. He says it was here that Mumbai was introduced to the sizzler. At 16, he decided he'd open his own restaurant and his uncle pitched in. Paradise Restaurant joined the likes of Café Mondigar, Café Royal and Café Olympia to establish Colaba as a neighborhood that served stellar old-world food. Paradise served only rolls, burgers, and hamburgers back then, and it was after Meru married Jimmy in 1965 that she introduced continental dishes and Parsi bonu to the menu, which it became famous for. Meru and Jimmy Kadkoti at their Tardio home. The special dish Esway asked Jimmy about the legendary Scotch broth, and he decides that Meru should talk about it, because it was her special secret of using half-boiled chicken and mutton that did the taste trick. The broth had chicken and mutton bones. The Goshtwala came to the kitchen and gave me the cuts, which I would wash personally. But my favorite was the chicken masala, which had a superb gravy and the best pieces of chicken, she says. Happier times. The restaurant, recalls Meru, was her current affairs den. "I will miss talking to people who came from all walks of life. They were my source of news, even before I read it in the day's midday," she giggles. Their patrons included celebrities and the influential, including Ratan Tata. He was a good friend of Jimmy's and they'd chat about cars. Once, Johnny Walker, actor, was at the restaurant and I was having a hard time placing him. He walked up to the counter, and said, "Yes, I am Johnny Walker." The chicken dansak served at the restaurant. Meru vividly remembers the day Obama visited in 2010. It was Diwali and we were asked to shut shop and queue up outside to greet him. Soon after, when we opened for business, a CNN reporter barged in to take a bite on the nuisance it had caused us. I told him it was an honor, and we were proud that the then U.S. president had come for a visit. My granddaughter saw me on television in America, and told my son. It was a pleasant surprise for her to see Grandma Meru on television. The Kadkoti were clear that their focus would remain hearty non-vegetarian fare. "How could I do everything? We did veg specials sometimes. I used to make all the masalas myself and spend hours at the masala galley at Sat Rasta with a wet cloth covering my nose, watching sellers pound the masala. That is what made the food delicious," she remembers. Meru says while the shop kept her busy, she looks forward to spending time with her grandchildren. We connect with them on our computer, but they are all growing up and we want to see them more often. The best chicken roll in India. Kunal Vijayakar, food writer and television personality, recall visiting the restaurant as a child. I would go with my parents and grandparents. Their chicken roll is the best in the country, and Mary used to make the mayonnaise fresh every day. It was gooey, sticky and sweet. Half my weight is thanks to gorging on the rolls over the years. My favorites on the menu were kid fillet roll, chicken lollies and leg and new custard. The shutting down of Paradise is tragic. Closing was inevitable. Koresh Dalal, food historian. Iconic eateries shutting is sad because it takes away the soul of the city. But it is inevitable. The food sector is no longer what it was. Restaurants like Paradise sold wholesome food, not designer quinoa salad and kale chips. The next generation isn't keen to run the establishments. The margins are lower, real estate prices are up, and if you own the real estate, it is more profitable to rent it out. Our history is no longer history in the making. That part is done. In the mid-90s, my friend Benita married a German girl named Claudia. One day, we walked into Paradise for a meal. Benita looked at the menu and frowned. They have no vegetarian food except bread, butter and chips, she said. Honest to God, we had not noticed it until then. Also read, these iconic places in Mumbai have shut down. Catch up on all the latest Mumbai news, crime news, current affairs, and also a complete guide on Mumbai from food to things to do and events across the city here. Also download the new Midday Android and iOS apps to get latest updates.